Hi, this is Cindy with the Port Huron Recreation Department, bringing you Watercolors with Cindy. This is part 4 of 4, and today we're going to round everything up with all the techniques that we've put together already, and it'll be a nice little looking collage. Towards the very end, or on the graphic, I'll have the actual finished product when we're all done, when I complete everything. So I look forward to seeing everything that everybody else has done. Please post your pictures on the Facebook page, like us, and visit our website. Check out more classes. Let us know what you might like to see again, or new things too. So, okay, here we go. Okay, you can see that I've already cut out my fish. I did a little extra Zentangle over here. This is kind of my freeform that I said that you could use, and then just kind of cut this out. What I did is I used the WetOnWet technique for my little seaweed and cut it out. And I did it all before I cut everything out. I painted it, and then I just let it dry, and then I cut it out. Same with the fish. The fish, I ended up doing the flower pattern, or the leaf pattern, excuse me, that we did yesterday. I really like that. I think you heard me say that. So I'm just going to show you really quick the WetOnWet, and we'll do a little bit of splatter on top of this one. This will be another piece of seaweed for my aquarium. Just keep in mind that if you're doing a butterfly design, you're basically dealing with flowers and plants. I'm dealing with water and plants. You can picture it. There's different levels of the sea, and then there's different levels of land for each different animal. So when we put this together, you might be able to see this, and then you'll understand how all of your designs will come together. So for this one, I've been using warm colors. I started with yellow, or no, I'm sorry. Get this guy all wet. Since it's a permanent marker, the Sharpie, now I'm outside, this might be a little different. I did the rest inside. But you see how it's not smearing, it's just making it wet. You get lots of wet on here. I know I'm gonna have to deal with that. But so we got really wet now. Now I can add my colors. And I'm just gonna dab on a little bit. See how I'm going over the edge a little bit? That's so that it can cover the whole thing. A little bit more. Just randomly, it'll spread around. And you can wipe off your brush, rinse it, and then get your next color a little bit darker. It's going to be the orange, and just kind of put that down. And then what I used inside is, this is just a opened up cereal box to catch my splatters and my extra mess on the side. So, you know, there's lots of different things you can do when you're in the house and worried about protecting things. I know mom or dad or whoever your caregiver is, they probably want to take care of their furniture. So you can help out by just using some scrap, something, newspaper, whatever. So let that get more red in that one. I'm going to let this dry in a little bit here. Hopefully it'll dry really quick, because I'll cut it out with a freestyle form here. Just getting all the white stuff, the white spaces filled in. So I did I'm doing my plant formations mostly in orange so that they stand out. The fish is a little different also from my backgrounds. I think I used mostly blues and greens and purples for the water portion of it. I'm going to add a little more yellow. Okay. Tap it off a little just so it can dry quicker for us. So I went all outside the lines. I'm not really going to cut on these lines, but even here I went outside the lines because then if I messed up on my cutting, then anything that was cut or left, it still blends in. That makes sense to you, I hope. So I'll set this aside to dry. I'm going to take this whole thing out of here. Got my trusty rock. It's still a little windy today. Okay. So I think you guys should have a couple sheets of paper left over unless you went nuts and did a bunch of different designs. Otherwise you could use probably some cardstock or some heavier paper to glue everything onto this. I think we're done with the paint. Oh, I'm going to come back through with the splatter on that other one in a minute. So I'm just going to take a couple of these and show you. Actually, I'm going to move this just in case I get it dirty again. Wait. No, I'm just going to cover it up with this. Ha! There. Okay, so now I'm protecting my surface of my other, my actual background piece. This was the salt technique, so I'm just going to start tearing this into a shape that I think might be under the sea. Actually, it's going to be kind of like a hill, so I'm going to do this. And this may not look like anything right now. Okay, but the main thing, when you tear it backwards on the part that you want to keep, because that's going to leave this little white edge. And I didn't do it over here, but I can cheat and basically tearing up. So now I'm cheating on this one. Ha. So there's that piece. Pretend that's still there. Alright. Then I've got this one. And I think I kind of like it all, so we'll probably be cutting these or tearing them some more. Remember to tear away from you on the part you're going to keep and toward you with the part you're not going to use. So now I've got the white line right there. Okay, here's the glue technique. I will keep this side over here. I'm gonna kind of make it like these are the ridges, or these could be the hills. Well, this glue is pretty tough. Don't worry, we'll win. Okay, so that's that. Just put that guy aside. Here's the Crayon Technique. So I'll take that. Tear that. Now this one See how it's got all these little squigglies? I think I'm going to cut these out. Just freeform, cut them out a little bit. This was on the glossy paper. I think it looks kind of like seaweed or a plant, so I'm just going to use it that way. The way you can get away with cutting some smooth edges is you just keep turning while you're squeezing your scissors. I'm just leaving a little gap there. Kind of like this little bubble. Hey, it's a bubble. Go back down and up. And I'm squeezing as I turn. When you run out of squeeze, then you have to pick it up. So I'm following along an imaginary kind of a line. I don't really need that purple. It doesn't really do much there. That little piece over there doesn't seem to do much either. So that kind of looks like some seaweed. I'll keep that. Now if you were doing the butterfly, I think you might have stayed closer to the warmer colors. I'm going to set this aside because I will use this instead. And some more of these guys. They're pretty cool looking. So cut it like this. Go in a little bit so I can get a couple of them out of this. Cut that off. Well, there's that one. I think that looks pretty cool. Put that over there. I might take a little more time and cut out the middle parts, but we'll see. There's a couple more. I'm gonna cut that right off there. Use this. This was the blown paint with a straw technique. I thought it was pretty cool because it did make it look like some plants. That actually looks like a little dragonfly. Okay, got a little bit of seaweed there. All right, this one was the leaf printing. Use some of this. matter how high you get, because you're going to be overlapping things, and I'm thinking this might be in the back. That's why I got it a little higher. And then we did this. What I'll do for this one is I'll cut him out too. I think it's like a little plant grouping. And this could be, again, for a garden that your butterfly would be in. I kept my little bug, and I added a couple more bugs in here. Right there, right there, right there. And I just kind of made it grow a little bit so that it was a little bit more of an eye catcher. When you cut out your fish, before you do so, I was going to mention it might be easier to trace the line or use the next technique that I'm going to show you. Okay, we did this too. This was a paper towel. You could use it if you want. I'm not going to this time. Well, maybe I will. So what I'm going to do, I just thought of something. I might use it for some rocks in there. So to do this easy and quick, I'm going to make my rocks like that. They kind of look like eggs. Oh boy. Okay, well. There. A little more rocky looking. Okay, I'll do a couple more. Okay, these kind of look like beach rocks now. You find rocks in the garden, so you could do that too. Do one. Some small ones. And smaller. That way they're not the same size. Okay, I'm going to set these aside because it's getting windy again. Now, when you put this all together, I'm just going to show you really quick when you're doing this. You can paint the edges with a matching color or a contrasting color, which would be something different maybe. You could just do this and just kind of touch it. I went over a little on there. Probably wipe it off. But I'm kind of just rubbing on the edge here. That's going to give some definition up to each of the grooves. So that when you layer it, you can see them. So let's get our paper and we're going to put this together now. So what you're going to do is you're going to end up starting with something up above. I think I ended up having to use a different paper at one point. Okay. So we're going to improvise that over there, and then remember to tear like this so that I can see the edge. So that's going to be the top. Then I'll come in with this guy. This guy. This piece can go in here. See how I'm layering it. And you just glue it all together when you get it the way that you want it. So this guy, I think I'm going to use him on two sides. He's going to fill in some spots for me. So there's straight edges here. You won't be able to see them when you put it in there. Like that. So there's my collage part. These are my additions. I'll probably cut this down a little bit. Now see this little line here? Put that right over it and you don't even see it anymore. Could put a couple of these back here. Right there, there's a line. And for dimension, put this back there. Kind of gets hidden there. I'll go up there. Over there, okay. Then we've got this guy. I said I was going to spray it with some another color. So I'll go with a red. That right over there. That way it protects it. And of course you guys know how to do this. It's not showing up as well as I thought it might. So let's try a blue. See what happens there. Okay. Some of it might turn green. But there. Just adds a little bit of more contrast. Oh, I forgot about this guy too. We'll put him in there. We've got a lot of parts, so we don't have to use them all. Let this dry. But here's this guy. Could he go there? Maybe. With all the bugs. Okay. Hey, you could get a bigger piece of paper yet. Put a rock down there. Rock over here. They overlap too, you know. Put some rocks in the background. Like that. If it's hanging off the edge and you don't want it there, just cut it right off. Remember, we use this. I could cut out little circles and have little bubbles going through here. And here's my seaweed that had the contrast to it. Put our fish in there. A little more seaweed. And his bubbles. little one. There. So there it is, all put together. Well, other than ours, we've got this. So I'll show you this real quick. So I can do just another squiggly like I did before. This probably took me about, oh, there goes my, I'm going to cover this up so it doesn't blow while I'm cutting. There. This probably took me about 2 hours to actually draw up. Now I'm cutting it to pieces. Ooh. But that's okay. It's going to be more seaweed, or remember, this could be like a flower. When I take that off of here, I'll show you where it could be flowery and with a butterfly. Oh, my daughter did this. Fancy scissors. So we've got a little bit of height to these. Some of your blown patterns will give it some height too. Just kind of try to stay in your line there. Just using that technique where I hold down and move the paper while I'm cutting. Going to curl up a little bit, but when you glue these things down, just make sure you hit those spots. Don't use a lot of glue. It's best to have it smoothed out before you stick it down. So you're going to put a little dab on there. I'll show you really quick. And you can use your finger, it's fine. Put a little dab on. You don't want it to dry like that because it'll get all wavy on you. Spread it out a little bit. Still kind of thick, but that'll help it get tacky and then it'll stick better. So there's that little guy. And he's kind of got the green mixed in there now. So he could go in wherever. Again, you can decide what you want to add and what you want to take out, but this is all the stuff that we did. I will post my final revision on here once I get it all glued together, and you'll be able to see what it all turned out to be. I hope you've enjoyed this. Please like us on our Facebook channel and leave us comments. Let us know what yours turned out to be. I think it I'm really curious to see them all. So thanks again for joining us, and hopefully you'll tune in again for another art class with me.